down coal production plants across the country ahead of tomorrow's midterm elections. And the fierce backlash has the White House on cleanup duty.
Doug Lazader joins us from Washington with more. Doug.
Good morning. This is where things get tricky for the president, trying to build enthusiasm among progressives without alienating voters who are concerned about rising prices, especially when it comes to energy. Now, here he was in New York over the weekend.
There is no more drilling. I haven't formed any new drilling. That was before I was president. We're trying to work on that, get that done.
But that anti-drilling stance comes as gas prices are still unusually high. The president points out that they are well below their peak back in June, tweeting this. Right now, the most common price at gas stations across the country is $3.19 per gallon. That's progress. But that metric he used, most common price, understates the actual average price Americans are paying. And Twitter flagged that tweet, adding some context, noting that the average gas price is significantly higher, more like $3.80 a gallon, according to AAA. Now, all of this follows last week's assertion by the president that he would shut down coal plants.
No one's building new coal plants because they can't rely on it, even if they have all the coal guaranteed for the rest of the existence of the plant. We're going to be shutting these plants down all across America and having wind and solar.
Okay, that may please progressives, but that is a tough stance in a number of states like Pennsylvania. And West Virginia's Democratic Senator Joe Manchin was incensed, saying in a statement, being cavalier about the loss of coal jobs for men and women in West Virginia and across the country who literally put their lives on the line to help build and power this country is offensive and disgusting. The White House quickly offered the president's regrets if anyone was offended, saying that his words had been twisted. Back to you guys.
All right, Doug Lazader live for us. Thank you so much. Thanks. The Wall Street Journal has some thoughts on what the president had to say. The editorial board saying, quote, every so often President Biden blurts out what he really thinks, even if it's politically or diplomatically embarrassing. No doubt Democrats running for Senate in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, states where economies and electric grids depend on coal, hope voters didn't hear what Mr. Biden said. But voters should know what they're voting for, even if Mr. Manchin now claims he didn't. Former Keystone XL Pipeline worker Neal Crabtree is here to react. Neal, the Wall Street Journal says that the president blurted it out not once but twice. First, it was the coal comment. Then the White House walked it back. And then he comes out with this no more drilling comment yesterday. And this is just a few days ahead of the midterm elections. Obviously, the economy is the #1 issue on everybody's mind. When you hear the president say something like this, what goes through your mind?
Good morning, Carly. Well, I think the most aggravating part about it is I don't know how many times over the last 18 months or 2 years that we hear, well, my administration isn't doing anything to hinder energy production in this country, and always blaming it on someone else, like the Ukraine war or COVID or even the oil companies themselves. And then he turns around and makes statements like this. It's extremely aggravating.
Yeah, and, you know, we saw what happened when he entered office. He killed the Keystone XL Pipeline. Like we said, you lost your job, although you've landed on your feet. You have another one now. But he was politically criticized for that from Republicans, but also some Democrats in his party as well. When you look at the swing states, there are 15 coal plants in Ohio, 24 coal plants in Pennsylvania, Michigan, 13 plants. So do you think that this is an issue that could sway voters in those swing states just one day out from the midterms?
Well, you know, I'd like to say if you're a voter and you haven't been through the early voting and you're going to go vote tomorrow, I hope this is one issue that you will look at, because as far as keeping any promises, this is one promise that Biden has kept. He has destroyed energy in this country, and I hope that some of the voters will look at the candidates who realize how important energy is in this country, and more importantly, how energy is tied to inflation, because I don't think the Fed's raising interest rates are going to get inflation under control, not to the point where it needs to be. We've got to realize that the part that energy plays in this.
Yeah, they are tied, and coal alone accounts for 22% of electricity in this country. So if what the president says turns out to be true, and he is successful in shutting down these coal plants, even though the White House is saying, well, that's not exactly what he meant, he's the one that said it. If he is successful in shutting down these plants and replacing them with wind or solar, what would that mean for Americans?
Well, we always hear the administration, telling these workers to go get other jobs, and there's jobs in the green energy field. And a lot of times these workers, they get labeled as being scared of change. We're not scared of change. We're scared of stupidity, and that's what this administration has brought to the table when it comes to energy policies in this country.
Well, you mentioned the Biden administration reassuring people about those jobs in his green energy plans. Let's take a listen to him saying just that.
When we invest in climate resilience and infrastructure, we create opportunities for everyone. That's the heart of my jobs plan.
By helping families pay the upfront cost for energy efficiency upgrades to their homes, we are also lowering energy bills, bringing down household costs, creating jobs, and fighting the climate crisis. It's all connected.
But, Neal, I don't need to tell you this. There's actually been a rapid decline in energy sector jobs since just last year. Petroleum companies' jobs down more than 31,000. The coal industry down more than 7,000 jobs. And in the fuel technology sector, down more than 29,000 jobs. And I remember when John Kerry stood up there and said everybody who lost their job when we shut down the Keystone XL Pipeline, they can just get another job in wind or solar. How are those opportunities? Have you been able to find anything in that sector? Are you even looking?
Well, right now, our industry is concentrating on keeping the pipelines and the refineries that we do have up and running because we know how important they are. But the scary part about it is we've not added any capacity when the demand for oil and gas is on the rise. It's not on the decline. And as far as the vice president saying they're doing everything they can to lower energy bills, I don't see where it's happening. I see diesel prices through the roof, home heating oil, your energy bills. I don't understand what she's talking about, but that's nothing new.
Yeah, well, inflation and energy are certainly on the ballot this election cycle, so something tells me you're going to be very excited to vote come tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait till tomorrow. I just wish the president was on the ballot. I have to wait 2 more years to get him.
You will then, 2 years from now. Neal, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.